I'm thinking it was the fourth one.
Brother Zafar, sorry, just get mic to the brother so we can hear.
Which brother is it?
Brother, sorry, just mention your name and then I'll cut your name.
My name's Kassa from Birmingham.
Kassa, okay. Okay.
So from what I remember him mentioning,
talking about the kashif.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you asked which part of the five
yes.
was he referring to. I think it was the fourth one because it was the goal. So that was, when he talked about, seeing Jannah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him that all you have to do is remember me and be good to one another. So that would have been the path.
Okay. Before that, the whole journey itself, what was that? What you said it's good, mashallah. That's also, we're going to go through in detail what is the purposes, yeah, and how to fulfill it. So that's good. That's just an advice given at that moment. But in terms of the whole theme of that, what you mentioned, and to remember the topic is to know yourself, to discover, to identify yourself. What is the identity that we actually been highlighted here?
What the first thing in detail? What knowing yourself in
with the Kashif was experienced. He was saying about the ruh going here and there and so on. What is that telling you?
Well, knowing yourself is knowing that why you are in this world, and why was you sent in this dunya. What did you understand? Knowing yourself, what have you known about yourself now? Why we were sent to this dunya.
Okay, so what is that? Tell me. You answer with an answer. I want an answer.
Okay, we were sent to this dunya because ultimately it's a test to see that whether we're deserving of the next life or not.
Okay, so but you have to understand perspective that it's not about next life, as though we belong here. Where do we belong?
We belong in the hereafter.
We belong in the heaven, in the paradise, and where the spirits were.
Yeah.
It's about returning. It's a completely different concept.
Oh yeah.
It's not about making it there. It's about returning.
Yeah,
Where do we return is our choice.
Yeah, returning.
So first of all, our identity, we do not belong here. We're like aliens here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like princes and kings of our paradise, which is in store for us. We belong there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have all the desire that matches. We've seen everything. But unfortunately, we're here for what? We were given a small piece of land, body, so that we can qualify, like you said, test, we can qualify, so that we can go back where we belong. So our real identity is that, all these desires we have in this world, we could be Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Indian, USA. That's not my real identity. My real identity is that I'm a man of paradise, a man of the heavens. It's about how do I return back. And so we don't get caught up in dunya and the rat race and the fake thing. They're all meant to be just to show yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like what the Kashif said, like be good to people, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is our task, but our real identity is that we do not belong here, we belong in the heavens, our spirit, and we are princes and the kings over there, and we need to go back. So we can have the endless desires to be fulfilled over there in paradise as well. So that's what's been discussing. That is what we actually are discovering in this session. And what the Kashif has related is more experiential of that understanding. So that's subtle. So like what the Kashif said, if you ask him now, obviously related it, from me I have a completely different perspective. That he knows that I don't belong here. That's not my real identity. I'm not an earthly person. I'm a godly or a person from paradise. I just have to return back. I have to do the right things to go back there, so that Allah is happy and I'm qualified for it. So his experience now is different now when he goes outside. So that's what we can understand. So inshallah, going back to Brother Kashif, Jazakallah, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Is that, mashallah, very vivid experience you had. And first and foremost, you should settle in your mind such that you have completely different perspective now. Look, yes. It should move us, it should change us, having the experience. The Latifa you said at the beginning and different colors, it also has a meaning. Time does not permit to go in detail, but it reflects your outside world and how you're interacting, how you're dealing with it, and how much we're refraining ourselves from purification course we're doing, the tazkiyah, and so on. So that has a sometimes negative effect or positive effect. Negative effect is, I'll give you one example, is that these colors They're like the scanners, reflectors, these latifas. We've not mentioned it yet, but just indicating that they're like a scanners or reflection mirrors as well. If you clean it, it shines. But if you do not clean it, leave the dust and I could say the filth and everything that gets collected in there, then it does not reflect the true color. It gets dull, it gets contaminated, and so on. So it can be, you can see as a means of, are you doing something good that reflects in a certain way, or if we is actually contaminated or discolored, that means our outward life and actions we do, that darkness is bringing into the latifas as well. So that's an indication. So alhamdulillah, you're on the path, so you can see many things are happening, especially connection of the your latifa, which is the green one, and Madinah Sharif, because that's to do with emotion and connection of who we actually put our center in our life. What is our central point? So for some people, if they focus on their emotion, it could be their family or the business or whatever. So that with purification, with training, that could change to the right one, i.e. Madinah Sharif, Ghumbad Sharif, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on. So these are the good indicators as well. But the main thing is that you've journeyed and you've seen many experiences, plus inspiration by the angels you've had. It's not obviously the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's an inspiration through the agents of angels that convey the message to you as well. Always remember, inshallah, for every one of us. But so now what you have to do is, we have to first of all carry on like that in our salah, when we do our Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. But also then real change. What we're actually doing in here is, we want to see a real changing happening. That when we leave from here on day of Eid, go out in the real world, when the shayateen, all the big ones which are locked up, will be released. How do this really help me and shape me and mold me to keep and understand, have that intelligence, self-intelligence now. So we're learning here, it's a self-intelligence that, okay, do I really understand myself and my position, what to do? I don't get caught up in the, like they say, rat race, or get duped and tricked by shaitan. And the one way to do that is to have that wholesale change slowly and say, yeah, I want that. And but we need support. Sometimes fighting a battle alone is very hard. So that's for the support of the Ustadhs, the teachers, our Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh. They're here every time, every week, every day, in fact, if you need to, they can help you. But we need to make that change, or make the intention of change, that yeah, I've understood now. I'm not going to run around. I'm going to fulfill my rights, moderately fulfill my desires, but I'm not here to fulfill my desires endlessly, and it's not possible. So one thing we know, identity, that, for example, we live in paradise forever, or in Jannah we live for a long time, in a world of sin for a long time. Now, even if you have all the wealth, all the luxuries, all the women that we want, we don't live enough to actually, enjoy all that. No, the time is not long enough. So then how have we actually fulfilled our desires as we wanted? It's not possible. So that's something we learn in this session, that because we do not belong here, the desires, they're not necessarily bad. Those cannot be fulfilled to the maximum level here as well. So the only way we can fulfill that when we actually go back to our real homes, which is the paradise, inshallah. Jazakallah, Brother Kashif, inshallah. Brother Zafar, where are you? Oh. Just one or two other brothers here, then before we go to Brother. Yes, our Honorable Sidi, respectful Dawood Sahib.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad.
Assalam.
My journey is short. It's not as extensive as, Brother Kashif.
For this morning, this is this morning?
This morning.
Okay.
This morning, when you said, now find the teacher, follow your teacher, I saw him for a moment. And then he disappeared. But I'm still continuing journey. And when we reached to Jannah, I was captivated by the structures that I saw. And
in the world of spirit.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm standing there and I'm watching. And then you told us that we are now going to Jahannam, and there was a hot flash that I received. I normally receive hot flashes, but this one was different. I was actually choked. and I couldn't move anymore. I just stood there, and I don't know whether I was daydreaming or, something like that. So I need some explanation of what I should be doing.
So if I can just follow that trail of thought. So basically, you went to Jahannam, you saw some of the witnesses, and then what happened after that?
No, before we, as soon as you said this is Jahannam, and this the fire or something, and then this hot flash just came upon me.
I'm overwhelmed.
Physically.
Okay, right. So Alhamdulillah, first and foremost, that as you can see from what you're saying, that in the transfer, you Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh, that means spiritually you are now like you're born, you're connected in the spiritual world. And Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh is like our spiritual father, spiritual guide that will take us. So Alhamdulillah, shukr Alhamdulillah, that your connection has been established now. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you see them or not, but that's also part of learning. Sometimes you don't see them, but they want you to progress so that you train. But do not ever forget that they're actually with you.
Okay.
Even if you don't see them. But if you ever feel scared or, like I said, hot flush, or anything that disturbs you or you're not unsure, you can always press the emergency button. And that emergency button is, think about the Shaykh, where is my Shaykh, where is my guide?
Okay.
As soon as he comes to you, you take it to your safety, to your comfort zone again.
Okay.
So Alhamdulillah, this is true that, you saw the many things in Jannah and Jahannam as well. And it is a stark warning. Some people read Quran and read the story and the description of Jahannam, and they get very scared by that. So you can see your spiritual experience was such powerful that it physically kind of transferred that knowledge, that feeling onto your physical body as well. So it's actually quite an intense level. What we said at the beginning, they can have ilmul yaqeen, aynul yaqeen, haqqul yaqeen. You remember that?
Yes.
And we give example of the war in Ukraine. That's what we mentioned. One is you hear the news, one you see it. And thirdly, if you're actually right in the middle of the war, you feel the temperature, you feel the scenes, you're scared for yourself. So at A level, you also, although physically you had that momentarily, the experience of haqqul yaqeen, in a sense that you felt something within your body, it moved you. It kind of put fear inside you as a warning to make sure we never end up there, inshallah.
Right.
Go to Jannah, inshallah. So Alhamdulillah, is this your first experience, or we've had something like that before?
Yesterday I had something, but I wasn't sure what it was because I was following the,
But from today's experience?
Today, this is really profound. Even yesterday, but sometimes when you're a beginner, you don't want to say something because your imagination maybe had taken over, your better judgment, and so I didn't say anything. But also it was something I actually, when I stood behind the Ustadh when he was leading the Salah, Salatul Tasbih, and I almost fell off the chair because I sit down on the chair to pray, because I'm standing somewhere, and then I completely overwhelmed by what where I was.
Yes. Okay. So now that, like you normally say to all of us participants, that inshallah, even if you think you're doubtful, you're not sure, it's still related, because that helps to explain and to explain and to helps to explain so that we become more better at it. But you've gone yourself beyond that from today's experience. You're convinced now because you even felt the hot flush. I know, millions, maybe billions away, miles away, light years away, where the Jannah is. No, you can't even say billion. That's too short. But you feel the hot flush straight away. And so that you're convinced. So alhamdulillah, that please do relate like that, and it really helps to. And what that really does is it basically increases our faith. It's actually a faith builder. It builds our faith, so that when we go out there, we're convinced, we know our mission is, because it's like not only, like I said, not only just heard the news. I've seen the news myself. I've been to Ukraine. So if someone says, "Oh, I'm not really sure. Maybe I've heard conspiracy theories. Putin is not that bad. It's not really happening in Ukraine. It's BBC propaganda." You say, "No. I was there myself. You know, you cannot convince me otherwise. Like this, because we experienced it, no one can say otherwise. I've seen it myself. I'm convinced. I need to know. I know what I need to do. What I need to do, inshallah. So may Allah bless you. Thank you for sharing your experience, inshallah. Inshallah.
I think we'll
briefly, inshallah.
take one more from that side.
Ustadhs, bring the mic. Just take.
Sorry, who took?
So this is now finally want to hear from, like I said, we got quite a wide range and wealth of experiences here. Some we are learning, some are like we are now quite good at it. And like our honorable guest, Sidi Dawood, have experienced something. He's actually made a shift in his whole perspective experience as well. Now we can hear from one of our instructors, Ustadhs, that I believe is from today or?
Last night.
The Majlis.
Majlis.
Okay. So you can hear that from the last night his experience, had an experience to share.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Is the mic working?
Yeah. So on the night of Qadr, it was asked, O Lord, please forgive the ummah. It was then commanded, choose. It was a command to choose people to intercede for. A state of shock and positive surprise entered the heart. Who should we choose? The thought went through the mind for a while. The seeker then asked, O Lord, those who no one else is praying for, they are alone and they have no one. The ilham then answered, they are forgiven. The seeker then asked, how many? And the ilham answered, 100,000. It was a very happy moment. The objective is the entire ummah. The muraqabah dua explanation then began. It was a strange matter to hear the needs of oneself, whilst there is a higher purpose of salvation for the ummah is present in the mind. One's own issues are not worth considering in this state. The truth is Allah Azza wa Jal has taken care of everything to such an extent one is problem free. The thought then came to intercede for all those who have been punished for more than 100 years. Begging and beseeching the Almighty to forgive these began. Once one continued and continued, there was no response, just silence. The number request was reduced to just 1,000. The thought entered, maybe these people have done something that won't be easy to intercede for them. The seeker then asked, O Lord, you love to forgive, and receiving forgiveness from you is easy because you love to give it, so please give it to them. A positive surprise. The ilham then answered, I will give you double, 200,000 souls. I am pleased with your request. Upon looking at the earth, the special lights could then be seen illuminating graves all over the world. The punishment ceased and stopped. The angels came down with furniture from paradise. They cleansed and washed the spirits in a river from the river of Kawthar. They immersed themselves fully in water, the souls. As they rose up, their bodies transformed, illuminating, dressed in kings and queens, purified bodies, young and fresh. They turned to us one by one as they came out of the purifying water. A vast row behind them of these 300,000 souls. One decided to sit with the teacher of Tareeqah Muhammadiyah and hide behind them due to shyness of being given this gift. Hazrat Sahib welcomed them, shook their hands and said, entered the door of Dabbagh. They then entered Hazrat Sahib's heart as one watched from behind. It was a very happy moment for us and by far the best gift of any Laylatul Qadr thus far. Hazrat Sahib then said to them, or said to the seeker, next year aim for more. Allah Azza wa Jal wants to make you happy, so become happy by service to creation. He will help them and forgive them for you. This itself is sunnah.
Okay. Take it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In the ahadith it's mentioned that every night of Ramadan Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla wa ala frees hundreds and thousands of those people who have been destined for fire or who are to be destined for fire, who are already in punishment or will be in punishment. So hundreds and thousands, even a figure is mentioned as well in the hadith. And then in the last night of Ramadan, then the number is freed equal to the whole of Ramadan. And Allah Jalla Majduhu loves this act very much, so much so that you will recite in one of the du'as of morning, evening, or day and night, which the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, that anyone who does this amal, this practice, is so beloved to Allah Jalla Majduhu, that anyone who does it, they become mustajabud da'wat, a person whose prayers are accepted. What they ask, they are given because of that amal. And they become so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla wa ala, that Allah Azza wa Jal give a rizq and blessings to many of the creation just because of that person, individual, who have done this high-ranking act. And what is that act? Simply, the act is clearing your heart from all blemishes in relation to the creation of Allah, and asking Allah Azza wa Jal for forgiveness for all men, believer men and believer women. Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. So Prophet ﷺ mentioned, whoever does this 27 times, this person becomes so actually beloved, so much dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah accept his prayers, whatever he asks, and does dua. And also that because of this person, Allah Azza wa Jal give rizq to others, rizq, blessings and rizq. And this act, because it clears you from all actually you may say dirt and filth and things in the heart, because most of the things in the heart are in relation to people, sometimes in relation to Allah Jalla Majduhu, but most of the time it's the people, the problems which people suffer with the relationships and other. This is actually a very difficult matter to go against your a nature in the way. Normally a person would like to retaliate if someone does bad to you, and now this person is doing good to even the one who wants evil for him and bad. So it is somewhat very virtuous act, but it has the reward also very virtuous as well. So wanting good for others, wanting forgiveness for others, and practically starting that with yourself. Stop doing zulm upon yourself, because a person who is doing zulm upon himself, he is doing zulm upon a soul which he himself is. And then people who have Allah Azza wa Jal has chosen for him to be close to, like parents, siblings and spouses, relatives and colleagues and people who work with him, etc., etc. So starting with those, because a person who wants forgiveness for people, what does he basically want for people? He wants them to have Jannah. And what is Jannah? To have ultimate pleasure and ultimate blessings, all of them. So how is that this person can fight with someone over a piece of land or a vehicle or a house or ego or somewhat little bit of money, then it shows that this person's heart is not clear. So yes, it's a virtuous act a person should ask, but then one should also do a reality check. Okay, what is my state and dealing with actually the ones which I have dealing. I am asking forgiveness for all people on the face of the earth. That's very good. But am I forgiving the one who are very close to me? I'm asking Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive, but what am I doing, etc., etc. So Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Dabbagh rahmahullah mentioned that this act of wanting goodness and forgiveness and loving believers for the Iman itself is so virtuous that a person, even without asking, they get forgiven. It is so virtuous act actually, because this person is wanting goodness and wants actually for forgiveness. So this should mean that his heart should be clear from all actually. So when the heart is clear, then it won't have actually jealousy or negative competition and others things with others, because he wants goodness for them, he wants paradise for them, he wants goodness in this dunya for them. So Alhamdulillah, this is. Now one question which people ask is that how can we love or want goodness for evil people, for liars, and for people who are stealing, people who are doing wrong things, for example. Yes, they are believers, but they are doing some very bad things as well, actually. So we are asked to hate the sin, but not the sinner. So that person is not, let's say, a thief, but this person steals, let's say. So we won't actually put that title on him because he has many, you may say, components of human being. He has a body, mind, heart, and soul. So he has a belief as well. He has belief deep down. He has a heart as well. So maybe he's doing it with his body, his mind, but not with the heart. His heart is still criticizing him. Even if he's doing bad, his heart is saying, "Oh no, you're not doing good. You shouldn't be doing this. You should." Call nafs al-lawwama, the criticizing soul. So sometimes the person, inner self, the spirit, the ruh and the nafs and all, they are criticizing, but outwardly the person is still doing. So we are to love that inner part which actually every believer deep down have, and hate the outer meaning the sin. So we hate the sin, not the sinner. We love the patient, but not the disease, etc. So we actually keep our mind clear that we hate the evil. We do not like that, and we do not like him to have that. But that doesn't mean we should direct the act of hatred towards that person. Now that is how actually Anbiya alayhi salam and Awliya Allah, they see people. The other people hate them, they love them as people, but they think they have some bad things with them, they have some additional baggage with them, so they want to take that baggage away from them. So they embrace them, and they want slowly, with love, with some compassion, sometimes with admonishment, they cleanse that, and then they are shining. So as I say, the believer, the Iman is like diamond. So the believer is like diamond. Sometimes the diamond is in stone. hidden in stone. Sometimes the diamond is just soiled in the soil. Sometimes the diamond might fall into gutter, into filth, completely gutter, filth. But diamond still is diamond. You can take out and clean it, it will shine as it was before. It remains a diamond. Yes, outwardly it can be covered by many, many things. So similarly, believer sometimes actually are involved in bad things, sometimes things which are not good. Sometimes they are in the gutter of sin and things. But deep down, they have that diamond of Iman. So the person, we should see that their reality is there, so we cleanse them of that, and then they start shining. And basically, as you know, diamonds are found in the ground, in the caves, in the mines. People are digging down. They are not even shining at that time. They are mixed with stone. If you look at the stone which has diamond, you can't figure out there is a diamond. Only person who knows, he'll say, yeah, there is diamond in there. Then they refine them, then they cleanse them, and then it finds its place in the hands of kings and queens and on the head of kings and queens. The same which was at one time there. So similarly, when a believer is taken out, the tazkiyah, like the stone is taken away, the contamination is taken away, and tazkiyah and is sharpened, and it is given a form of a diamond, a very beautiful, and the shine, then the person finds themselves with the King of Kings, closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla wala, the beloved of Allah, and the beloved of angels and other things. So this is what Usman was mentioning. This is actually a very good act, and this is sunnah dua to 27 times to say Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat, Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina. But understand what you are saying. Firstly, you are saying that I have no claim against anyone. I have forgiven everyone. My heart is clean from everyone. I hate the bad things which people do, but not them. And I forgive. And oh Allah, I want you to forgive all believers, irrespective who they are and which gender or whatever they belong to. Allahumma ghfir. So, meaning you delve deeper in your inner self, and actually then also ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla wa ala to do that.